to Pete Bercich from the Vikings radio broadcast. Pete, what's up, man? How you doing?
Wish I was doing better with our team, but hey, all good, man. It's a good time of year.
Well, we know that feeling here.
We're riding in the same car together.
Yeah, I hear you on that one, man. It's tough, especially having played Sam Darnold, who took you to 14 wins a year ago, and this year it's been a much different journey, and there are a lot of reasons for that.
So let's get into some of that. They decided, that you draft J.J. McCarthy last year. You want to hand over the keys, but then he gets injured in training camp, I believe. Maybe it was even prior to that. But McCarthy's out for the year. Darnold steps in, plays great. Minnesota has that great season, goes down early in the playoffs. And this offseason, they look around, they say, we're turning this thing over to J.J. There have been injuries, but, what have you seen from J.J. so far this year?
It's a lack of consistency. Early on in the year, hit first and second drives, his passer rating was way up there. The touchdowns, the yards, it was, you're on those scripted plays early, and it seemed the first couple series things to be great. And then it was kind of the middle, the middle second, third quarter, when you started getting off the script and making adjustments, things just weren't there. And lately it's just been turnovers. We've thrown 19 interceptions this year. Defensively, we've only produced 3. And there are reasons for that. Offenses are much more conservative going against us. They're willing to play the field position game. You're not playing from behind. I think early on in the season, that was another big thing. This defense faced more passes last year than any other defense in the NFL. And this year it's the number is pretty much flipped, because offenses have time, they have patience. So, that's turning into 40 some plays a game. Time of possession is very lopsided. But the biggest issue are the turnovers, man. I mean, they're just absolutely killing us. JJ, I don't believe he's played a game yet where he hasn't thrown an interception. He had one against Detroit that was kind of iffy, referee call, but outside of that, he's been consistent that way. And Brosmer comes in, turns the ball over 4 times. So that's been, if you want to create an order with which to fix problems for us, it's the turnovers, the interceptions. And I'm not even touching on a offensive line, starting 5 that has been together for one half of one football game so far this year. We've had somebody out, somebody replaced. So that the way you drew it up going into the regular season, we've seen 30 minutes of that this year. So there are a number of things which are ailing our offense right now.
But JJ has been a little banged up and hadn't played. Does it look like he's going to play, or will it be Brosmer?
No, JJ's been healthy, and that's kind of going back to what you said, talked about earlier with Darnold. The decision on Darnold was made before he even got here. You trade up, you draft the guy number 10 overall. He's going to be your guy. We didn't get a chance to see him at all last year because of the meniscus injury, which happened in training camp. He comes back this year, and he's just struggled to stay healthy. He got an ankle against Atlanta, missed, I don't even know, 3 or 4 weeks or 5. I don't even know. And then, he comes back and plays a couple weeks, gets into concussion against Green Bay. So he misses the Seattle game. He's just not staying on the field. And unfortunately in this league, you have to be out there. You have to play week in and week out if you want to make the incremental improvements that are necessary. But he's young. He's 22 years old. So, I think Coach in his press conference mentioned they're going to be a little less hyper-focused on the fundamentals and just kind of let him go out and play. It's like, you got to do something. So might as well just let the kid go out there and play, and maybe maybe it'll be a little bit looser this week. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, it's been a struggle. I mean, just look at Justin Jefferson's numbers. I mean, they're so far off of what he's been able to produce every single year for the last 6 seasons. His level of frustration has got to be I know it's got to be through the roof, along with the fans, along with everybody else. As
somebody that has Justin Jefferson in a fantasy league, I am acutely aware of the numbers. So it's interesting you bring up JJ, because he's had a few post-game situations where I think he's voiced some level of that frustration. How is that locker room for a team that largely has just been really good since Kevin O'Connell took over? And that's a guy that me and B know pretty well from his time here. I used to do a weekly interview with KOC. Good dude. I feel like everything in Minnesota has really been going well until now. Like, what is the vibe for that team?
I think those guys, they have a good group of guys. This is where if you have a problem or a couple people in the locker room, they're going to be headaches. This is where they start to pop up. And the thing that I'm watching closely is just the effort level. I mean, you look at the way the defense played. The Seahawks shut us out 26-0, but Seattle couldn't have come away from that game happy about their offense, right? We only gave up 219 yards of total offense. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 11 games in a row with 75 yards of receiving or more. He was held to, I believe, 24. So the defense is continuing to do what they need to do. They haven't quit. They haven't given up. That's the sign of a good locker room. No matter what happens on the field on one side of the ball, the other side of the ball continues to do their job, and they've been doing that. So they haven't reached that proverbial breaking point yet. But it's a strain, man. You know that. And how long can this go? Well, it all depends on, how this week looks. If it bounces back, if the offensive machine looks better, then yeah, you might be able to get some momentum. So we're all kind of waiting and seeing to see what's going to happen on Sunday. And I mean, the fans definitely will not be as energized as normal. So I think that'll be a big help to you guys, just because the noise level in US Bank Stadium can be so, it can be tough, but I don't know if the fans are going to be fired up in the beginning. So maybe to give them something to cheer for, but as of right now, it's a wait and see for, I think, the fans.
The running game is more led by Mason at this point right now, right?
Yeah, it has been. I think with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, I think with Aaron Jones, you have a more versatile type of a player, more of a cutback guy, speed, good out of the backfield, good receiver. That's kind of his role. And Jordan Mason is just he's a bigger downhill running back. Unfortunately for Aaron, he's been nicked up for a lot of the season. He missed a lot of games with the hamstring, had a shoulder a couple weeks ago that got aggravated against the Seahawks. So we're kind of waiting and seeing on him. That's the one thing. And I'm glad you brought it up, because that's the one part of the offense we're 25th in rushing, and I think it's the highest we are in any category. We're 29th in the league in offense. I mean, the numbers are just 162 yards of offense last week total, right? I mean, the numbers are epically low, and we've just fallen to the bottom in all the statistical categories. So trying to get something going, right? Something consistent. We don't have an identity in the running game in that regard, as far as what we do, what kinds of runs we do well. So we have to figure that out, and it's kind of a different style depending on who's in the backfield, but we're going to need both of those running backs to have a good day on Sunday.
We're talking with Pete Bercich here on the Rude Guest Hotline, RUUD. If it ain't rude, it ain't right. Pete played his college ball at Notre Dame before being drafted by the Vikings, played for the Vikes, coached for the Vikes. You understand this team really well, and the offense has been abysmal, and that is out of character for a Kevin O'Connell coach team. But defensively last year, they were so excellent. And I recognize how hard it is to maintain a good defense when the offense is terrible and you're just on the field all the time. That said, though, are you surprised by the defense's regression?
Like, I think at least on that side of the ball, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Okay. So our defense last year faced more passes than any other defense in the league. Teams threw against us about 62% of the time. So that number has really completely flipped. So you figure at the end of last year, you go out and you're looking to increase the pass rush, right? You're looking to find more interior defensive linemen that can get after the quarterback so you don't have to blitz enough. You think of Brian Flores, he has a certain pressure rate that he wants on the quarterback, and he's going to blitz enough to get there. If he doesn't have to,
right,
he won't, but he will to get there. So you bring in Javon Hargrave, you bring in Jonathan Allen, you're hoping that you can generate a lot more passing pressure with a four-man rush. Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner, those guys. And then now you play, part of it's playing the AFC North. You know how those guys are. We've seen more extra offensive linemen and fullbacks and everything. It's kind of like old school football because teams are not behind. A year ago, we led the league in interceptions by 5. And it was because teams are behind. They have to throw the football. Things are happening. This year we have 3. We've had opportunities, but our pressure rate is still very good. So teams are like, well, why would we throw the football when we're ahead and we're getting extra possessions? And so they're just being much more patient. They're running the ball and even throwing the football. They're not worried about getting down the field and being explosive as much because they have a lead. So so much of that is in this game, winning and losing is a razor thin margin to begin with. And yep, you throw just a couple of these variables in and it can really affect the product on the field. So that's why this defense has been, I think, less dynamic in that regard. But being the fact that they have been, I mean, they've played, you add 10, 20 plays per game. I don't know what that number is exactly, but the defense has probably played 2 or 3 more entire football games than our offense has. They've been on the field a ton. So they've managed to still keep us competitive. And, it's a stress that can only go on for so long. The offense at some point really has to pick things up.
It's funny. I wanted to ask you quickly about Jonathan Allen. Obviously, a player we know well here in the Washington market, played here a long time, grew up here. How has John fit into that Vikings defense and in that locker room?
I think he's doing great. It's a different front up here. We do things differently. It's not just you're not just a 4-3 and taking an edge and pinning yours back. Vertical type of defense. It's there. I talked to him earlier this year, and he said that there's more mentally that he has to do than any other defense that he's been involved in, which is just the style of what we play up front. So I think there's been a lot of adjustment that had to be made on his part, mainly with technique and fundamentals and stance and things like that. But he's played very, very well. And he's been a big part of really being in the running game and everything else. I know what he really wants to do is get after the quarterback, but again, we just haven't been in that position where you have a team up, you're up by 2 scores and a team has to throw the football. So I don't think he's been able to play the style that was envisioned when they brought him in and what he really thought he could do while he was here. So it's been frustrating, I know, in that regard, but he's been playing great, playing hard, and we're happy to have him.
Lastly, Pete, I'm just curious. It seems like everybody thinks Minnesota's a wreck and Washington has some sense of momentum. I mean, granted, you got a 4-8 team playing a 3-9 team here. What do you think happens on Sunday?
I do. I don't know. You look at you guys, and you were just a batted pass away from beating a 10-2 football team, right? So
Right.
offensively, you guys have some weapons. Zach Ertz is just so consistent. Then there's Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, if you want to get vertical. I think what we theoretically need to do is keep your defense on the field. Keep them on the field, and be able to eventually break some arm tackles and make some bigger plays in that regard. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I do this for a living, and I've done it for 20 years in this regard, trying to figure out what a team's going to do. And offensively, I have no idea what we're going to be able to try to exploit. You know what I mean? Try to take advantage of. Just usually it's a matchup game, right? You look at matchups and you say, okay, we got them here. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know what Bobby Wagner's status is, but he's a veteran presence, and he always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And if you guys had him out there, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to be able to answer that question, but I just right now can't. I have no idea how this game is going to go. We'll make your offense earn it. That's for sure. I mean, defensively, they haven't rolled over yet this season. So, offensively, you got to protect the quarterback, and whoever that is, whichever quarterback that is. So running the football is going to be important. And, with McCarthy Merritt and Chris Rodriguez and how hard those guys run, they have very good vision. You guys might be able to be patient with the run because it's going to be a 3-0 game or whatever it is. You see what I mean? And if that's the case, then you're going to stick with the play action. And, oh, by the way, you got a great tight end and in Ertz who can find his way to get open to move the chains. I mean, that's unfortunately the games that we've been watching for the last 5-10 weeks. And it's so in that regard, I apologize. I get paid, that's my job, right, to predict how this thing goes. But
don't apologize, bro.
No need to apologize. We're looking. It's just like we're looking in the mirror at each other.
Totally,
we're the same team.
Oh yeah,
totally.
It's a tough. It doesn't mean it won't be a good game, right? It just means this thing could go in a million different directions. In that regard, maybe it's compelling, but other than that, I don't know, man. I haven't seen Jefferson catch a pass down the field in a long, long time. So it'd be nice to be able to get him in the open and have a couple big plays out of him. That would definitely get everybody excited again. That's for sure.
Yeah. This team has struggled with that. It's been a little better over these last few weeks, but they haven't faced a talent like Jefferson in these last few weeks either. Yeah. Hey, Pete, thanks so much for your time, man. We'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. See you guys Sunday. Take care.
All right. Pete Bercich calls Minnesota Vikings games, radio, color commentator. It really does feel like we're looking in the mirror here.
Man.
Two organizations.
That meme?
Yeah, the Spider-Man joint.